Coming up, the latest on the Baha Mar talks.
Coming up in the Bahamas tonight, the BCPOU ratifies a new industrial agreement. The next step now is to sign off with BTC management. We have all the details. Stay tuned.
And in sports this Thursday, Peace on the Streets basketball tournament tips off. The Bahamas tonight, the National Report starts now.
Now in HD. ZNS Network presents The Bahamas Tonight. This portion of the news brought to you by BTC Every Day.
Government is expected to reveal details of those high-level talks in China on the Baha Mar saga. Good Thursday evening, Bahamas. I'm Altafiz Munnings.
And I'm Charisma Robinson. We are expected to learn more about those intense discussions on the way forward for the Bahamian Riviera on Cable Beach. A press conference is expected to get underway at the office of the Prime Minister in Cable Beach, detailing the nature of those high-level talks between government and Chinese stakeholders on the Bahama bankruptcy and the future of the multi-billion-dollar resort. We've been reporting the ongoing developments in this case all week. Our Clint Watson is at the Prime Minister's office covering this emergency press conference. We'll have more in a later newscast.
Well, the State Minister for Investments, the Honorable Kailash Roll, says as it stands now, the Baha Mar issue has not negatively impacted investments by other developers in the country. As for take-home lessons, they have learned from this dilemma with regards to how they deal with future investment proposals. State Minister Roll admits there's very little they can do to impact how an investment turns out.
It's unfortunate we are in the position that we're in now, but we're working extremely hard to get this back on track and get the economy headed in the direction that it needs to head. Because with all of the due diligence, you can find individuals that have deep pockets, you can find individuals that have good character and that have good track records. Investing is a process, and sometimes you run into problems with that process. We continue to look at the type of individuals that we are attracting. We continue to look at their capacity, and as much as we can do in the interim period, which is now, we will try to do to ensure that we get blue chip investors with capacity to carry out their investment.
There's been much speculation about Baha Mar and its developers pulling out, hinting at a possible sale. But the Investments State Minister doesn't think it will go quite that way.
I don't believe that you're going to see a dismantling of the regime that's currently in place with Baha Mar. From my perspective, I believe that we should continue on with the parties and work hard to make sure that everybody is at the table and everybody is on the same page and everybody focuses on the end game, and that is providing a world-class resort for the Bahamas that Bahamian people and the world can benefit from.
It's been an uphill battle, but last evening it took less than an hour for the members of the Bahamas Communications and Public Officers Union to give their stamp of approval to the deal being offered by BTC's management. Jimmy Swain has more.
Bahamas Telecommunications Company employees got the news they were waiting for. Instead of facing redundancies, they will be voluntarily separated. Officials of the Bahamas Communication and Public Officers Union, the union that represents them, had more good news. Certain benefits that had been removed from the negotiating rounds are now back in the mix. BCPOU Vice President Patrick Ferguson called the move a win-win.
Persons will be voluntarily leaving the company under VSAP, under that arrangement. However, if there are cases where the VSAP is not as great as the redundancy, then that redundancy will be applied for our members to get greater benefits. There were very few that stood in objection of passing or ratifying this contract, and members are excited and happy and relieved rather, because just this past Tuesday they faced a terrible storm of having everything taken off the table.
But there was some bad news too. Ferguson said that the company told the union to expect more redundancies as it restructures. At present, 140 staff members are expected to be separated from BTC. One sticking point of negotiations was the need for employees to work on Saturdays. Ferguson explains how they dealt with that.
Although it's a regular day, we now receive a day off during the week, which is an off time. And if we work on a day off, we get double time. But the Saturday is a new thing. Working on Saturday is a new thing for BTC. And changes are not readily accepted.
BCPOU Treasurer Ulrich Mortimer highlighted another important benefit retained for members.
We were able to save and freeze pension for our members under 50, early pension. So under 50 from 45 to 50, they're able to freeze their pension. So when they become at age 50, they'll be able to get pension for the rest of their life. So that is one of the greatest accomplishments for what we were seeking for, and I think we got that, and that's why you saw so many members out there who were leaving were so happy that they were able to get that. The whole goal of BTC was to drop their payroll by some $12 million. It wasn't a number head count.
Now, while this is the first phase of the voluntary separation packages, union officials are unable to say how many employees will be disengaged from the company by the time its restructuring is completed. Chiminita Swain, ZNS Network News.
This portion of the news is brought to you by the new Shell and Let It, designed for extra miles.